and welcome to Not Your Grandma's Attic, the podcast where we look at and examine strange media that we have unearthed. And today we are looking at one movie out of the 5 from the Man-Eater collection that I found at Goodwill. We will probably watch all 5 of these movies at some point, probably not in order or all in a row, but just, at some point. But the one we watched today and will now talk about was Direwolf.
Also apparently known as Dinowolf, because if you Google Direwolf, it will come up with the alternate title Dinowolf. And you can also find images of the title where it was written as Dinowolf, which is really fitting because this is really just kind of a ripoff of Jurassic Park, but in wolf form.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. It is Jurassic Park, but with wolves. is something I am realizing now.
Oh no! I think that's why I can't tell if it was originally called Dinowolf and then was changed to Direwolf or vice versa. But but I'm realizing now that's why it was called Dinowolf, because the whole point was we were trying to find the highest ranking movie of the 5 and do that one first. And this was the highest ranking movie of the 5 at 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. So, you know what you have yourself in for.
Indeed. Considering that this is the highest one, and we're going in order, so we're watching the highest rated movie first, and we'll work our way down to the worst rated movie, which I think was Chupacabra versus the Alamo. Was that the worst one? Okay. So look forward to that one. So what are your thoughts? Your first impressions before we get into the meat of this?
This was a really annoying 88 minutes of my life. I got off work, I drove an hour to work. I worked 8 hours with an hour lunch, and then I drove another hour home, and I came home and took a shower. And then I did this for 88 minutes, and now here we are discussing it at 10:30 at night. And I'm like, what led me to this point in my life?
Well, you mean you're not having fun?
I'm having some sort of fun. I think it could be the alcohol, though. I did drink a very strong screwdriver during the course of that movie.
See, that just shows more of the difference between us, because she was drinking that and I was drinking a vitamin water with 0 sugar.
And you don't even have work in the morning.
No. I do have class, though.
Oh, I thought you meant you have class. I'm not classy, but I get it. You have class. Well,
I forgot I was a student.
Anyway, yeah, like we said, this movie has a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. It came out in 2009, I think 2009. Which is
2007, 2009. One of those odd
other
numbered years before the 2010s.
Yeah, because I wrote down 2007 in my notes, but then it says 2009 on the page, so I don't know. Maybe it was re-released as Dinowolf in 2009. I don't know. But there you go. So did you have any thoughts you wanted to share, or any reviews that you could find before we get started?
I could not find any real reviews about this movie or anything like that. I can look at the back of the box, though, where we have a review from Dread Control, which a quick Google search brought up no results of anything called Dread Control. But they say a gruesome slasher-styled bloodbath. It certainly was a bloodbath.
Let me say, some of the fakest looking blood ever. It's so bad.
It is true. It was fake looking, but the gore effects were insanely detailed. They did not have to go as far as they did. There was people getting skin ripped off their bones and people's guts hanging out of their corpses. It was pretty intense for a movie of this budget. I'll give them that. It was a gross movie. However, it wasn't scary. I was not scared by this movie because I am brave.
Brave young lad.
Indeed.
Okay, so I'll get us started off. So while you're watching the credits, you get a scene of there's this blonde lady that we learn later is named Jamie. I wrote that down. It doesn't matter because it's just her and I think his name was Tim. Don't quote me. I wrote down Tim later because it seemed right. And he's the security guard and she's just this random bitch working in the Clark Biogen lab. And this is a lab that's just out in the woods in the middle of the night. And she tells Tim like, yo, she gives him a call and she's like, hey, so like one of the doors is open and he goes to investigate it and then they both get eaten by the direwolf. Is there anything else that needs to be said? Oh, while she's calling Dr. Reynolds.
Don't forget the strong romantic subtext between them.
Oh, like, what was it he said? Was it
Oh, she was like.
Oh, he said. Oh, can I bring you a cup of coffee? And she was like, cream, no sugar. And then he said something gross.
he said, like that's everything in your life or something like that. Just like everything in your life. And she was like, you know it. And then they kind of like giggled to each other. And then
so she
and
gets
then
the dick.
He wandered off to die. And then.
Basically, there's that, and while she's calling Dr. Reynolds, she gets eaten by the direwolf. And then we get some more credits, and then we open up to a diner scene the next morning, and we're introduced to the following many characters. So we already have 2 characters, so our death count is up to 2 at this point. So we're introduced to Sheriff Asshole, which according to... I actually never caught his real name during this. I just called him Sheriff Asshole throughout the whole thing. But his name is actually Sheriff Parker.
Okay, because nobody ever called him by his name in this movie. They all called him Sheriff. Like,
I'm sure they probably said it at least once.
Or Dad. Spoilers.
So we're introduced to Sheriff Asshole, who eats there every morning. Kelly, the hot bartender. Hot bartender with boobs. She's wearing a blue shirt. I'm sure that's important. There's a lot of people wearing blue shirts in this. I don't know if that matters. I'm just wanting to include it. Ed Riley, the sheriff walks in and notice Ed's missing. He's usually sitting there every morning. So he's actually not there. You're not introduced to him.
So it's not his name is not Tim, his name's Ed, because that was the security guard who was killed.
No, okay. So actually I figured this out partway through. Remember when they walk in and they're like, where's the night security? That's Ed. Mm-hmm. We never actually see Ed.
I thought that was the night
security. Oh
security.
shit, maybe he was Ed. Anyway, his name was actually Ed Riley, also called Paul Blart. Paul Blart is missing.
Yeah, he did look a lot like Paul Blart.
Paul Blart is missing, and then we also have Martin. He's the game warden. His name's actually Jim Martin. I named him Baby Boy. As soon as I named him Baby Boy, he actually started calling Sheriff Asshole Dad. So there's that. Jenny, she is the new waitress. She never shows back up again. That's not important at all. Neither does Kelly.
I think that waitress, she was just brought in to
comic relief.
Introduce the fact that the sheriff has OCD.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Yeah, because he's like, I want my eggs on this part of the plate, and I want my blah 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 here, and I want my coffee at 12 o'clock. You're right. So she's serving Sheriff Asshole or whatever, and then him and Jimmy start talking about how like these 2 assholes have been vandalizing his game warden shack or whatever, and blah 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 whatever. And then Jimmy runs into Amber and her new boyfriend Billy Ray, which you can tell immediately Amber is Jimmy's ex. Moving forward, I also forget that Amber's name is Amber, and I start calling her Jenny. So if I refer to Jenny ever again in this, it's because I forgot her name and I wrote her down as Jenny for the rest, like half of these notes.
I also really like the scene where he's like, the baby boy is like, why are you dating that asshole? And she's like, he's not an asshole. You just think he is. And even though like from the 30 seconds we see him in that movie, he is like the biggest asshole you could possibly be. It's like it's his only personality trait is being an asshole.
Okay. And then what's his name? God, baby boy Jimmy, he runs into two bullies and they call him Cream Puff, and they give us the exposition that Jimmy actually he's the foster child of Sheriff Asshole, and he's a foster child because his dad murdered his mom and his dad is in prison. And also they call him Cream Puff for some reason, which Caleb, you originally were like, it's because they think he's gay, but he's clearly not gay because he dates women. And he makes a comment about how Kelly is hot, and that
I didn't mean that
Amber is
they think he's gay. I said they were calling him that because it's like, when a kid on the playground calls you gay, he doesn't mean you're actually gay. He's just using it as an insult to mean you're like a wimp or a bitch or something like that.
They also say he just wants him some Cream Puff, which doesn't make any sense because then they call him Cream Puff through the rest of this. I'm really confused. Anyway, also we learned that Jimmy doesn't carry a gun. He only carries a knife, even though he's the game warden, which then the question was raised, would a game warden need a gun? I guess they would need a gun if they're going to shoot a direwolf. I don't know. We still haven't learned what a direwolf is.
Well, I mean, I guess if your job is to police hunters who all carry guns, you would probably need a gun.
Anyway, we learn he doesn't carry a gun, and we're doing furthest because Jimmy's dad killed his mom with a gun. And so, anyway. And then, do you want to do the next scene with the generals?
Oh, yeah. So, we pan over to, some big official government building, and one general's just in the room talking on a phone, and another one walks in, and he's like, so what's going on? And the other general's like, oh, there's a situation, sir. Our Wolfman experiment has gotten loose. And he's like, oh, well, how did it get loose? And they're like, oh, I don't know. And he was like, well, what are you doing about it? He's like, I've got 2 agents on the way right now to take care of it. And he was like, well, do they know about it? Because apparently this Wolfman is top secret government shit, like up there. And and he's like, no, they don't know anything. They just know they have just been told to report back to me. And he's like, good. And did he say something about neutralizing them if they knew anything more, or that was saved for later, I think?
That happens in a second, because first we cut away to Reed and Connor, who I first thought were just going to be a husband and wife couple, but they're not. Reed and Connor are the agents.
Yes.
So we cut to them for a second.
It doesn't really tell us that they are agents until they get to their destination. They're just in the car and they're bantering with each other. This movie does have a lot of banter. It's like the Avengers.
Really bad banter. And then we cut to a no hunting sign, and we see a hunter right under that no hunting sign hunting down a deer. And then we cut back because this movie cuts so much between different characters, especially unimportant characters. Then we cut back to the game warden shack where the bullies have spray painted 666 on the window, not even on the wood, not even on the walls, just on the window where it's super easy to clean.
Yeah, and not only did they spray paint 666, they also spray painted the anarchy symbol and a skull and bones. There was a third one. There was a fourth one as well, but I don't remember what it was. Because when you want to rebel against a game warden, you spray paint anarchy on his hut's window.
And yeah, Jim.
No gods, no masters, no game wardens.
And Jim is cleaning off the windows, and then Daddy Warden shows up, and we learn that the name of this area is called Devil Canyon Station, which the fact that it's called Devil's Canyon and they put 666 makes me feel like that played a more important role, maybe in the original idea, maybe that it was gonna be created by the devil or something, but it doesn't really come up again. But I don't know.
No, it really doesn't. What was that movie we watched where it was God, what the fuck was it? Where The View from Halfway Down? No, not that.
Um.
Fuck.
Are you
know what
talking
I'm talking
about?
about.
As above, so
As
below?
above, so below. Yeah, where it's like they go on a camping trip, but they actually stumble into hell. Kind of
No,
thing.
it's not a camping trip. That's the one where they
They go
into
on an expedition, not a camping
yeah,
trip.
they go into. See, now I want to watch that movie again. That's a good movie.
That was a good movie.
Anyway, yeah, no, this is this is when Daddy Warden says, "Since you brought the law back to the forest, it could be anybody," referring to who put the 666 on his window.
Because apparently they just didn't have game wardens before Jimmy showed up.
he's the only game warden they've ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's an important note. Daddy Warden fixes the sign because one of it's being held by like two chains. One of the chains came loose. Daddy Warden fixes it. That's an important note about Daddy Warden's sheriff assholes OCD.
We didn't realize it at the time, but that was important, like foreshadowing.
It's a very important details that were made in this movie. Since you brought the law back into the forest, it could be anybody. And then the hunter gets murdered by the direwolf as he's about to shoot a deer, which is good because he didn't get to shoot the deer because eating meat is murder. And we are all vegans on this podcast. We're actually not, but
all right, Morrissey.
We'll pretend we are.
But
okay, there's a lot worse people to be than Morrissey. Does he even have any sex scandals? Morrissey has to have a sex scandal, right?
I mean, probably, but he's also
okay.
racist,
We have to find out right now.
Yeah, he's holy shit. That's like one of his defining characteristics.
Morrissey's sex scandal. Joseph D. Morrissey is an American Democratic That's not what I wanted. Controversial lawmaker who served time for teen sex. What? I'm learning so much about Democrat Joe Morrissey, and I didn't even want to learn about the actual Morrissey. Okay, what if I add singer on the end? Okay. Kevin Spacey singer Morrissey says actor is being attacked unnecessarily. Oh no, he was backing up Kevin Spacey for raping 14-year-olds.
I mean, Morrissey is famous for his hot takes, so.
Oh god, he has such a weird mouth.
It sounds like you need to do some more research into Morrissey.
All I know is I like the Smiths. I don't know anything about all of the.
Morrissey is very, very problematic.
Oh, I didn't even know this. Tell me more. Tell me more now on the podcast. Give me your hot take. Okay, here we go. Race and support of far-right politics. Morrissey has faced ongoing accusations of racism since the early 1990s from media and commentaries around the globe. He consistently rejected accusations of racism. That's what a racist would say. Oh, God, he's a white nationalist. I don't like that. Well, ding dang, I don't like that at all.
Apparently, he's like really anti-Muslim.
Morrissey included images of skinhead girls as a backdrop and wrapped himself in a Union flag. These actions resulted in him being booed off stage by a group of neo-Nazi being booed off stage by a group of neo-Nazi skinheads in the audience who believed that he was appropriating skinhead culture. Let's see. And then he sued NME for libel in 2007 when he told a reporter that British identity had disappeared because of immigration. Good.
I can't believe you didn't know about all this.
No, I didn't. I'm obviously like not in the know about Morrissey. I just knew that I liked his weird music and that he was like, and every time I go home, my dad makes really terrible, like it says racial slurs against him, even though he listens to not racial slurs. I'm sorry, like homophobic slurs against him. Because
is Morrissey also gay?
Oh, he's gay as fuck. You didn't know that?
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, I'm glad I could bring this to you. Yeah, no, he is like the most gay. Oh, I hope I'm not wrong about this. I think there's a section in here called sexuality.
I only know about his problematic things. I don't know anything about his sexuality.
Control F. Sexual. Oh, I spelled sexuality with a W. That's not how that's supposed to work.
Sexuality.
Itty.
What were we even fucking talking about before this?
Alongside developing their own songs, they also developed a cover of the Cookies' I Want to Be a Boy for My Birthday, the latter reflecting their deliberate desire to transgress established norms of gender and sexuality in rock in a manner inspired by the New York Dolls. See, that's what I knew about, was that he's like super gay, and also he was super hot in the 80s. Mostly because of his hair. Like, he had really fluffy hair. Like, that's all I know. I don't know anything about all this racist stuff. I don't like this.
Well,
And wait, I have to confirm that he is gay. Okay. He further suggested that part of Morrissey's appeal was that he conveyed the image of it and his fragile quasi-gay sexuality. Is he not gay? I'm going to be so upset if he's not actually gay. Morrissey's sexuality has been the subject of much speculation. What? In 1980, oh my god, I'm so upset. In 1980 letter, he described both himself and his girlfriend as bisexual, though he added that he hated sex. Maybe he's asexual. During his years with the Smiths, Morrissey professed to be celibate, which stood out at a time when much pop music was dominated by visibility and sex. I'm so upset. I thought he was super gay. I've been led astray by my homophobic father. Repeatedly, interviewers asked Morrissey if he was gay, which he denied.
oh my god, dude.
Oh my god. In 1989 interview,
Your whole world is falling apart.
I know. He revealed that he was always attracted to men and women who were never attracted to me, and thus he did not have relationships at all. What a mood. Unfortunately, I am not a homosexual. In technical fact, I am humasexual. I am attracted to humans. But of course,
that's some bullshit.
Not many. So you're telling me Morrissey isn't gay and he's a racist? I'm so upset. Oh, wait, okay. In 1997, he revealed that he had abandoned celibacy and that he had a relationship with a Cockney boxer. That person was revealed in his autobiography to be Jake Walters. So at the minimum, he is bisexual.
He has had sex with a man
and
at
then
least one time.
He later got with some lady named Tina, and they had an uncluttered commitment, and he mentions a relationship with a younger Italian man known only as Gelato. Oh, this has nothing to do with it. I'm sorry. I had to know. Okay, I feel vindicated. He is at least bisexual.
Okay.
Here
He's
he described
half gay.
in the 90s in the 80s he described himself as a non-practicing bisexual. What a fucking mood as someone in a heteronormative relationship, though.
A non-practicing bisexual. What the fuck were we even talking about before this?
Let me look at my notes. Hunter gets murdered by
Oh
a
yeah, the
direwolf.
Hunter. I had to.
What
I
did that
wanted
have
to
to
bring
do with
some.
Morrissey?
You said meat is murder, and I said okay, Morrissey, and you said there are worse things to be than Morrissey, and then I said I don't know about that one.
This is why we have no listeners. It's not because we only have 10 episodes out right now. It's because of Morrissey.
I feel like this will be a hit for everyone who listens to this episode. They'll like this part.
All right, so y'all will know when
okay.
this was recorded because I'll have a lot of tweets about Morrissey. Anyway, continue.
All right. So anyway, I was gonna say my favorite part about the hunter about to shoot the deer is he lines the deer up in his shots in his line of sight, and he's like, "All right, Bambi, here we go," and then he's about
another Morrissey reference. God damn.
And then he starts to pull the trigger, and he says, "Come to Papa," and then he gets murdered. He gets gored by the Direwolf or the Dinowolf, whichever you prefer.
I'm still stuck up on humasexual, so I don't know what to tell you, man.
Humasexual. That's in like 40 different people's Twitter bios. I guarantee it.
I'm unironically gonna put that. This was pre-pansexuality. He didn't know how to describe it. This was pre-gelato. He didn't know. Well, at least we know he likes Italian.
This should just be the Morrissey podcast now.
This is the Morrissey podcast. I want my nickname to be Gelato. Why does it have to be cat? Anyway, So Hunter gets murdered, and then we cut to Jenny and Billy Ray. That's her new boyfriend, who's a lot older than her. Also, we didn't mention
you fucking
not Jenny.
called her Jenny again.
I wrote her down as Jenny. I thought it was super weird they named them Jenny and Jimmy throughout like half of this movie, and then you were like Kate and Cat.
We gotta bring up the thing. Every single, because like this movie introduces people in pairs, right? So like every single character is introduced as twos. So first we're introduced to like the lady at the lab, and then the security guard, and then the sheriff and his son, and then the girl and her new boyfriend, and then you know, the agent and his partner. Every single one of these pairs that they introduce look like they can be siblings. Like literally, they look exactly alike. Like the FBI agents that are brought in look like, you know, they have kind of the same skin tone. They have the same color hair.
They have the same soft looking skin.
Yeah.
Baby soft skin. Oh.
And then like the girl and her new boyfriend literally are like,
no, they don't look like siblings. He looks like her dad.
He does look a lot older than her.
Jimmy does look like Jimmy and Amber have this super strong chin, which there's nothing wrong with that, but they look like siblings.
They do. And like Amber looks like she's like 16, which is kind of weird that like when she's running away and stuff, the camera keeps like showing close-up shots of her like boobs and her butt. It was very uncomfortable.
Hey man, as someone who looks 16 but not in a good way, I'm extremely jealous. Okay. Anyway, we cut to Jenny and Billy Ray. And not Jenny. God fucking damn it. Okay, Amber and Billy Ray, and they're camping. And Billy Ray is rude and tells her to hand him a beer. And this is to establish that Billy Ray is an asshole and she should leave him and be with Jimmy. And then we cut to Sherry, our next character. We are up to, so I highlighted every time we're introduced to a new character. So we're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is our 16th character. And we're not very far into this
the
movie.
body count is now up to 3.
Oh, you're right. The body count is up to 3. Okay. Sherry. Okay. So Sherry takes the phone. She's like the receptionist or the deputy or some shit at the sheriff's office. And then we cut back to Jimmy, and he interrupts Jenny and BR banging. Billy Ray. Sorry, Billy Ray. Cyrus.
They were trying to bang. Like you see her pull her pants up, and then he like wipes his mouth off. I don't. I think they were trying to imply they were having oral sex, and then.
Really, Caleb? Is that what they were trying to imply?
Leave me alone.
Are you also a homosexual, Caleb? We're all homosexuals on this good day. I'm never gonna get over that. Okay.
Oh man.
Okay. At this point, I realized that at first I thought that the government agents were husband and wife. I learned now that they're government agents. So at this point, I stopped referring to them as husband and wife in my notes.
Yeah.
And then I wrote
also,
Jimmy. Go ahead, sorry.
I was gonna say the first like interaction they have is the male agent complaining that he needs to use the bathroom, and the female agent telling him to cross his legs.
So many times that people talk about needing to use the bathroom, or like mentioning if you need to go clean up in the bathroom. Way more, and you know what? I will give this movie this. Often I have had the question, do people in movies never have to use the bathroom? And now I know.
They do.
This is why they leave it out of movies, because it doesn't fucking matter.
Like, this movie's attention to detail. I swear to God, that's what that 33% gets you.
Why is Agent Connors only like he has 2 character traits. One is that he really respects Agent Reed, and number 2 is he has to use the bathroom all the fucking time. Those are the only 2 things he has going for him. It's so sad.
I want to say another thing I noticed in this movie's attention to detail. I didn't call it out while we were watching it because I didn't know if you could see it. But the scene much later in the movie where they show up at the station and there's, bodies on the ground. You can see the direwolf sneaking away in the woods behind them. Like, as they're pulling up into the station, you can see the direwolf running away in the woods. And I was like, they did not need to put that in there, but they did. So shout out to them.
Is this a good time to describe what the direwolf looks like? We haven't even... Okay, let's describe the direwolf once we get to what it actually is.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Okay, they're actually government agents. Jimmy finds the dead hunter and starts freaking out. And then the agents show up at the Biogen CGI'd facility with guns. And then Agent Reed, who's the woman, she goes, "So far, so bad."
Yeah, that was a great line.
So stupid. Okay. Then they find I wrote, "Find dead Tim," or whatever. I guess that's actually Ed Riley. They find the dead Ed Riley. And they're like, "Where is everybody?" And then Caleb said, "This looks like an unused sci-fi set," which it does. It looks like a sci-fi set from like the 70s, like Star Wars or something.
Like literally, there's like sliding doors with panels on the outside of them that you have to press codes in to get into, and there's like pipes and stuff going through the walls like it's a spaceship. And I was like, what? Like, this is literally like a set used for a sci-fi movie. This should not be in this movie. It doesn't look like...
This is really random, and I know you're not going to know what I'm talking about, but have you ever read Douglas Adams, like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
No, but it's on my list of things to read when I decide to read again.
Okay, number 1. That is one of my favorite books. I've read it no less than 10 times since I was like in 5th grade. Okay, anyway, I don't know why my parents... We've had this conversation
before.
We haven't had it on the podcast, and let me tell you, my parents let me read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy when I was in the 5th grade. And they should not have let me read that book. There's so many bad things in that book for a 5th grader. This is probably why I'm so fucked up.
You're not that fucked up.
This is why I'm a homosexual. It's because they let me listen to the Smiths and they let me read Douglas Adams. But
they let you think that the only thing about Morrissey was that he was gay.
Okay, I'm not fucking kidding you. So my dad has a friend named Canoe. That's his nickname. And you know why his nickname is Canoe? This all relates. His nickname is Canoe because he built a canoe in his basement, and when him and his ex-wife divorced, he couldn't get the canoe out of the basement because he didn't measure the door before he built it down there, so he had to cut it in half. He had to cut this canoe in half, and that's why his nickname is Canoe. Anyway, anytime my dad's friend Canoe comes over, they make this fucking ridiculous gay voice. like this fucking gay lisp, and they fucking sing Morrissey in the most obnoxious voice. Also, my dad's friend Canoe plays bagpipes. That's all I have to say. He used to give my brother bagpipe lessons. That's all I have to say. I'm not going to give his real name. He's actually a pretty okay guy now. He doesn't hang out with my dad very much anymore, so he's okay now. Is he a skinhead? I hope not. Barely fucking... Hopefully he's not appropriating skinhead culture like Morrissey. I don't know. I haven't kept up with Canoe. But anyway, that's my story.
Oh my god.
You didn't realize how much Morrissey related back to this movie, but it's really one of the important motifs.
This movie was secretly about Morrissey the whole time.
Anyway, the whole point of bringing up Douglas Adams is they made a movie. They made a TV show based off of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy back in the 70s, and my parents rented it for me on Netflix back when you used to rent things from Netflix. And I watched
it. And it would come in those little sleeves in the mail?
Yes! Yeah. Okay, and I watched all of them, like, multiple times before we sent it back in our back in the day, and it looks like a set from one of those. That's the whole point of my story.
Dude, like, when I looked up the director of this movie, and he has a substantial list of movies. Maybe it was just a set from one of his, like, a sci-fi movie he did at one point.
Maybe it's like a Neil Breen sort of thing, how Neil Breen always uses the same fucking laptops in every movie that he makes. Oh my god.
This guy's list of movies is very extensive, and we may use another one of his movies in the future for an episode.
Honestly, this was a good movie, and I can't believe this is the best rated movie. I'm afraid to see the lowest rated movie about.
I'm excited.
Who was it that was in the lowest rated movie that we recognized? Okay. Oh God.
Not. Eric Estrada.
Okay, Eric Estrada. Do you know how I know who Eric Estrada is? Is from a Neil Breen movie.
Oh.
No, he's not in a Neil Breen movie. I'm sorry. From Cool Cat Saves the Kids.
Oh.
That's what Eric Estrada is in. That I recognize him.
Okay.
Well, okay.
Oh my God! I know exactly what you're talking about now. Holy shit!
Oh my God. Okay. What is he in the? Is he from? Is an American actor. Oh my God, he is known for co-starring lead role as California Highway Patrol officer from Paunch. Oh, I thought he was going to be from Chips. Okay, I actually don't know. Oh, wait. And
no, Chips is that other.
Oh, okay. Paunch. Okay, his nickname is Paunch from the television series Chips. Okay, so Eric Estrada, known for being in the original Chips from the 1970s and 80s. Cool Cat Saves the Kids.
And Chupacabra versus the Alamo. Yeah.
We're on my second page out of 8 pages of notes, and we're 36 minutes in.
Well, we spent like 20 minutes talking about Morrissey, so.
And I will spend 20 more minutes. I will read this whole goddamn Wikipedia article to you. Obviously, there are many secrets that Morrissey has kept from me.
I hope your relationship can recover from this.
I don't think it can, because I just found out that he's freaking racist against everyone except Gelato. Like, damn. And Cockney boxers. This is all just. God. You're not a very. All I have to say is you're not a very good homosexual if you're fucking racist. Because you're supposed to like all humans, but you don't.
He likes Italians. That's basically all.
That's what I'm saying. He only likes Italians. I guess Italians aren't immigrating to the UK. Weren't immigrating to the UK back in the 80s. I don't know. But anyway, we have to continue.
Yes, where were we? Where were we?
We'll return to his 1985 interview with Simon Garfield later. I thought it said Simon Garfunkel. He did an interview with Colbert. Okay, anyway.
That's for after podcast material.
So they're in the biogen facility with a gun. So far, so bad. They run into the dead body. It's a unused sci-fi set. This random bitch shows up. Her name is Tina. She runs out and she's like, everyone's dead. And they're like, where's Dr. Reynolds? And she's like, I'll take you to him. And then we cut to the Dinowolf, or the Direwolf, whatever you want to call him. And he doesn't murder a baby boy. Because the baby says to him, you're the biggest doggy I've ever seen.
Yes, and the child offers him bread, it looked like.
What a mood.
And the wolf does not kill him.
You know, if a little baby boy of like 5 years old offered me some bread, I probably wouldn't eat him either. So, I mean, I can relate to the direwolf in a way not many people can.
Because normally you do eat children.
Often I don't eat deer. I don't eat meat.
Except for children.
Meat is murder, but killing children, not the same thing. Okay, so I'm going to go through this fast. We're learning now what the direwolf is. The direwolf existed long ago. It's an ancient wolf. And if you Google, so I actually did Google it, and it is an actual thing that they based this on. And then I also found out that it is some sort of character from within the Terminator universe created by Skynet. So that's also interesting. We don't really need to know about that. If you want to look that up.
This movie takes place in the Terminator universe.
That's what I'm saying. It takes place in the Terminator universe, and if you want to learn why, go to terminator.fandom.com/wiki/dire_wolf, and you can find out more there. But basically, the direwolf existed long ago. It was like the largest wolf to ever exist. It was found in the La Brea tar pits because it was super slow, and it would eat animals that were stuck in the tar pits, and so they'd get stuck in the tar pits, and they found their fossils there. This was like 10,000 years ago. And the lady there,
in scientific terms, is like yesterday. They make sure to make that very clear.
So basically they're like, so we took DNA from the bone marrow of these because they're in the La Brea tar pits from only 10,000 years ago. And like Kayla said, historically, they're barely fossils.
Yeah, they're barely fossils.
Don't they say there's something like barely fossil?
They barely count as fossils or something like that.
Fossils are a
spectrum.
Are a spectrum. That's what you said.
Yeah.
I think I wrote that down. So they harvested DNA from the direwolf bone marrow and they put it in human DNA, all Jurassic Park AC, and they made this direwolf and it's escaped. And they tell Tina and Dr. Reynolds, they tell this to the agents because the agents obviously didn't know this up to this point. And then all of a sudden, we cut to Jimmy and he can't get a hold of the sheriff. And he finally grabs his gun because he's like, I'm going to go kill whatever's killing all these people. Or killed
Did we
hunter.
talk about how Jimmy found the body of the hunter that got murdered? Did we even talk about that?
No, all I wrote in my
now.
notes. All I put in my notes was Jimmy finds dead hunter. So do you remember the details of that?
He just found the body because he was looking for the gunshot that he heard.
Oh, okay. So you're remembering more notes. See, your memory is a better notebook than my notes. That's all I have to say. Let's see. So Jimmy finally uses his gun. He grabs it off the mantle. And then Jenny. I wrote Jenny. Actually, Amber. So we cut away from the direwolf. We cut to Jimmy. Then we cut to Amber and Billy Ray. They're fighting over Cream Puff because Billy Ray's like, you love him or whatever. And they're fighting. And she's like, no, it's not you, it's me or whatever the fuck. And then he calls Jimmy a crack job because, he has a lot of baggage. Obviously, his dad murdered his mom. That's kind of a bummer. And then Amber calls him a jerk. Wow, what a bitch. And then we learn here that they were about to fuck for the first time in their tent in the woods where her ex-boyfriend works as a game warden, which I have to say is the most unsexy thing. And they established throughout this movie how hot it is. Like they're just talking about how hot it is all the time. Imagine being in this hot ass fucking tent. That's the least sexy thing I can think of.
On the ground.
Just on the ground. They don't establish that there's any sort of air. Imagine trying to have sex on an air mattress. That would suck too. Just as much as having sex on the ground. Or like a cot. It would. Hey. You can't even have sex on a cot. I've never tried to have sex on a cot, but I feel like it would be impossible.
Here, hey, there's an idea. If you and you're in a new relationship and y'all are about to have sex for the first time, do it
with your dad. With your dad, Billy Ray Cyrus. Continue.
Do it in your bed.
Well, she's fucking 16. She probably lives with her parents. That's why they're fucking in the woods. With this 40-ass-year-old.
They could go to Billy Ray's house.
How old was Billy Ray Cyrus in 2009? I want to know because this is basically Billy Ray Cyrus. That's his name.
He was too busy doing Hannah Montana. He couldn't have been in this movie.
That's true. Billy Ray Cyrus is a much more... Maybe it's the makeup, but he is... And I'm not saying that I find white men attractive, but what I'm saying is he's more attractive than the Billy Ray in this movie. So let's see. He's 59 today, so that would make him... What's 59 minus 13? That's how old he was during this movie. Anyway, we move forward. She calls him a jerk. We learn they're about to fuck. Billy Ray gets murdered by the direwolf. Jenny runs away into the creek. Whatever. We learn that the direwolf didn't want to murder Tina when it came through. So that's why her and Dr. Reynolds lived. Another
interesting fact that it also does not want to murder Amber because as Amber is running away, she meets people and the wolf murders the people around her instead of her and lets her get away.
Maybe she's actually just Sonic the Hedgehog, though. Have you considered that? Because I don't think you've considered that option.
No, you're right. I didn't consider that.
Okay. Okay, so the direwolf didn't want to murder Tina. This is where we learn... This is where I started to imply that Tina was its mommy. Because Tina has like a soft spot for the wolf. that everyone else doesn't really have up until this point. And then Sheriff Asshole shows up so they're still at the lab, and Sheriff Asshole shows up and pulls a gun on the 2 agents, Tina and Dr. Reynolds, and he says, "I'll murder you. You killed Ed Riley."
Yeah, he's like, y'all better tell me what's going on here.
Basically, I have that in quotes. I don't actually know if that's a quote. I don't remember it, but I put it in quotes, so I'm gonna assume it's true. And then he learns they're government agents, and he's like, let's go back to my sheriff office where we can drink coffee. And then we cut to Agent Connor and Reed, and Ed Riley was killed. He was the night shift security that we saw murdered. We realized that then. Jimmy, and then we cut to Jimmy. Jimmy finds Billy Ray dead, and then he puts a blanket over him. For some reason, because even though he didn't like Billy Ray and he thought he was a jerk, he's very respectful of the dead. He's a very respectful boy.
He's a pussy. Cream puff.
He's a cream puff. He's respectful of the dead. This is a super deep part of the movie. The way we see Jimmy react to dead people. He is much more respectful than the agents. You know what? When the agents find the dead slut, which we'll get to, the dead slut and photographer, they don't put a blanket over them. But Jimmy did. Because he's respectful of the dead because he's dealt with death before. He's more sensitive than the agents that are hardened to this type of life. Also, the agents tell, what's his name, Sheriff Asshole, that they're FBI agents, but they're actually not. They also don't tell him that the direwolf is like this genetically modified garbage. They just tell him that it's just a wolf or something, right? That it's a gray wolf. A gray wolf they're using for cancer research, right?
Yeah, a big-ass gray wolf that they're using for cancer research that for some reason the FBI is tracking down when it escapes. And also, what was it? What did they expect him to react with when he saw it? Because, like, he was gonna see it.
This is true. Oh, yeah, so when we described the direwolf, we didn't describe what it actually looks like in real life.
It looks... Okay, so the simplest way to describe it is that it is a gorilla with the head of a really bad wolf costume. And that's basically it.
Yeah, it walks like a gorilla. It has these long arms, and then it has like a super bad Halloween-esque ass-looking werewolf head on it.
I feel sorry for the guy that had to be inside that costume. His knees must have hurt real bad.
He probably did. I wonder how many people were in that costume. I want to see the after credits scenes of this movie. Not the after credits, the behind the scenes scenes of this movie, of recording this terrible movie.
Maybe we can reopen the DVD and see if we have a special features option.
Ooh, that would be a fun little extra episode there. All right, anyway, Reed and Connor, they report to the general that the sheriff knows it's just a wild animal. He doesn't know that it's just genetic gobbledygook or whatever. And then the general says, we don't want to have to neutralize him. Because apparently that's an option. They're going to fucking kill the sheriff. And he wants them to bring it in alive. So we established that. Then the sheriff called, and then we cut to the sheriff in a different car. And he tells Sherry to bring Jim in. Oh, wait, no. He calls Sherry, and Sherry's like, yo, like, Jim called, there's a dead person. And he's like, well, tell Jim to come in. We'll talk about the dead people. Also make me some coffee. Because the sheriff asshole is a dick. And then we cut to Jenny. Jenny finds a fisherman, and the fisherman's like, it's all good. I'll take you to my car. Fisherman immediately gets murdered by the direwolf.
Instantly.
Instantly, like, we don't even, he's just like, hey girl, like, it's cool, everything's fine. Let's talk about this.
I was worried that they were gonna do like a thing where he was just gonna try to like abduct her or kidnap her or something because she's like a lost girl in the woods.
Because she's fucking 16.
Yeah, no, it was just the wolf just immediately like murks him.
It was really a bummer. I like the fisherman. He seemed like a cool guy. He was just trying to feed his family.
Yeah, he was just out there chilling, fishing, listening to classical music. He literally had a stereo out there playing classical music while he fished.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. That was so fucking weird. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, so he gets murdered, and then Jenny runs away. And then I wrote a prediction here. So for a prediction, I had a little symbol next to my predictions, and it was Tina is its mommy. So I wrote that. That's important to remember for later. And then we go to Sheriff Asshole, and he shines. We learn here that Sheriff Asshole shines his badge from 2:30 to 2:45. This is important to establishing Sheriff Asshole's OCD, as Caleb has said multiple times. And this is something you caught that I didn't catch.
Yes.
I have a quote here from you. OCD monster cannot drink coffee from anything but blue cups. Quote from Caleb, 2K.
Not to be offensive to anyone who actually has OCD.
This is true, but like, he is a perfectionist, and we do not mean this. I do truly hate people that are like, oh my god, I'm so OCD, and it's like, no, you're just a dumb bitch.
I think they tried to portray the sheriff as actually genuinely having OCD. I don't know how accurate of a portrayal it was, but because I think that people with actual OCD obsess over like a certain thing rather than multiple things, but I could be wrong about that.
And they could have just been going for it, give them the benefit of the doubt and say that they were going for the trait that his weak point was he wants everything to be perfect. So we could just also say that. But
yeah.
Okay. Jenny finds the fisherman's car. We cut to her. And she doesn't have his keys, so she decides to hide in the car. She stays here for most of the movie. She's just in the car, and it keeps cutting to her. I didn't write down every time it cuts to her because it was boring, but basically she's hiding in this hot car.
Yeah, and like it does cut to her a lot, just in the car going.
Oh my god, it cuts between all these people because like they split up later in the movie, so it cuts between all of them, and then it's also cutting. The only person it doesn't cut to is Dr. Reynolds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really?
And also, I apologize for whoever edits this episode because that breathing sound is probably going to be edited out. It probably sounds terrible, actually.
No, it's good. I'm getting to the point where I'm trying to not breathe in super loud before I speak every time. So I'm catching myself, but I am doing it a few times. So let's see. Do you have anything to add there?
Nope. We can continue.
Okay. So Dr. Reynolds. So they're back at Sheriff Asshole's office, and Dr. Reynolds is like, it's a gray wolf, and they were using it for cancer research. But please,
absolute lamest excuse.
So okay. But just imagine you have a CGI lab in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere, where you have a wolf that you had in this container, and it escaped. It's somehow you were using this wolf in the middle of nowhere for cancer research, but it's strong enough that it can escape from like an armored government security place.
Also, can we just talk about how in this universe, apparently they can splice human and wolf DNA together to make a superhuman hybrid murder wolf, but
okay,
they can't cure cancer?
Hey. I mean, that's just like Jurassic Park. They never talked about how cancer was cured in Jurassic Park. That is never addressed in Jurassic Park. And you know what? I hope it's addressed in the next Jurassic World movie. It better be.
They are making another one.
Of course they fucking are. We live in 2020. All we have are fucking sequels. And I know that's not a hot take, but it's my take. But anyway. Okay. And then I have a note here from you that says, why would the FBI show up to contain an escaped wolf? Which I agree with. Because they've, at this point, they have lied to Sheriff What's-His-Butt about them being FBI agents. They're actually not FBI agents. They're secret government agents, which are different. Let's see. And then they go to Billy Ray's murder place. Yeah, so Jimmy shows up. And he's like, yo, I found a dead person. And I also found dead Billy Ray. And they're like, okay, we need to go back there and we need to hunt down the wolf to kill it. And so they show up in the Warden Jimmy's Humvee because he's fancy as fuck. And in a Humvee. And I think at that point you were like, why does he get a Humvee and the sheriff only gets a shitty Jeep?
Yeah, like fucking his dad was he just started his job as a game warden, right? So his dad was the main the sheriff was the main money maker of the of the family, and so I assume a small town sheriff does not make that much money. How the fuck did they afford a sparkling brand new Hummer? and and we're back. Yep, there is a little bit of a mishap. Hopefully, this transition will be smooth in editing. But
all right, 121. So, Dr. Reynolds, he's like, all right, it's a gray wolf. They're using it for cancer research, whatever. Jim shows up. And then, okay, why would the FBI looking for a escape wolf? That's where we're at. They go to Billy Ray's murder site, and Jimmy's like, we have to go find Amber. This is around the time that I realized that Amber and Jenny, that I had the wrong name. So I started writing Amber. Now I should start getting the name right. And he's like, we have to go find Amber. And Reed, who is the lady agent, is like, excuse me, we need to go find this fucking wolf that's murdering people, not your girlfriend. And he's like, no, I'm gonna go find my girlfriend. So he splits off, and the four of them go off. Also, I think it's important to note that Sheriff Asshole says, I thought you didn't like guns. And then Jimmy says, call me a flipper-flopper. Wait.
Yeah, call me a flip-flopper.
A flip-flopper. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. Call me a flip-flopper. Which is the worst thing I've ever heard. Just wanted to mention
There's
that.
a much better term for that. It's called Two-Face. But
Janice face. You can call it many things. Even, would it have been worse? This is the question I asked. If he had said flipper-flopper versus flip-flopper. This is the question. Because, okay, a flipper-flopper is a flip-flop, but said in a stupid way. But a flip-flopper, what does that mean? Is that mean Janice-faced? Does it mean two-faced? That's the question.
Do you think he ad-libbed that line?
I hope so. He said it in a way that seemed like he was reading off of a fucking teleprompter, but it's okay. Everyone reads...
That's acting.
That's one of the things, and the acting in this is so bad.
Absolutely.
Terrible. It is horrible. All of the lines almost always are delivered horribly. Like the agents, they have like these like monotone ways that they say things. I would almost argue that Agent Connor, the dude, I think that he might be the best actor in this. Who do you think is the best actor?
I thought it was the two bullies.
They were okay. I don't know. The scene like at the beginning when they have like a lot of lines, I think that was pretty terrible when they're like looking at each other. I don't know. They do have some chemistry though, and I will give you that. Okay. So from here we cut from Flip Flopper and we cut to Dumb Slut and Sleazy Photographer on bridge. So at this point we have established that the werewolf, direwolf, whatever, he is following the river because it's hot. I don't know why. That's just what he's doing. And so we're on a bridge over the creek, and there's a dumb slut and a sleazy photographer taking pictures for a calendar. So I don't know why you would take, this is actually something you brought up. Why would you be taking a picture of one girl in one location for one calendar? But anyway, so they're taking a bikini photo shoot in the woods for some reason in the heat. Which, wouldn't you get destroyed by mosquitoes? Yeah,
absolutely. And not only that, while they're doing this, they start getting horny, which is the worst part.
We'll get there. But first, we have to cut to Sergeant Asshole. He finds a bloody paw print. And he's like, oh yeah, we're following the water. Blah blah blah. And then we hear from what's his name, Connor. He says, what am I, chopped liver? Which is disgusting. No one should ever say that. And that doesn't even make sense in that context, does it?
Yeah, because he was mad because the two FBI agents ended up splitting up. The sheriff went with the girl, and the scientist lady went with the dude, FBI agent. And he wasn't happy about being split up from his partner, and he said, what am I, chopped liver? This used to happen to me in high school too. Which, okay.
I don't know. I googled chopped liver hoping to find what it means like as an idiom, but all I ended up with was chopped liver, traditional Jewish dial. Oh God, I can't talk. Traditional Jewish deli-style liver recipe, which is not what I want because I don't eat liver. But anyway, so the dumb slut. We cut back to the dumb slut. She doesn't know how many months are in the year, which is wild. Which is great. And then here I wrote, prediction will be eaten. And I guessed guy first. I think you guessed girl first, and that he would be taking a picture of her when it happened. Mm-hmm. So apparently they're doing a camera shoot, and then I wrote DS suggests sexy time. Oh, so that means sleazy photographer. I don't know why DS suggests. Okay, so dumb slut suggests sexy time under a tree. And then we have this amazing quote. Put your hands under your boobs and hold them like little cupcakes. And then she says, do you want some of these cupcakes? Which is both the worst and the best line of this movie. Which is quite a feat. When that happened, I wanted
seduce males by holding your hands over your boobs and saying, do you want these cupcakes? So the person that wrote this, like, what were they thinking? Were they like, this will be funny? Were they like, this will be unexpected? Because it's unexpected in like, oh my God, it's just a lot. I don't know. It is a lot, that's for sure. The real question is, when you see a woman's breasts, do you think cupcakes? You know, I'm going to say I don't. You know, honestly, same. But I think I have a different perspective moving forward. And I will report back on that. So, I haven't seen any women's breasts since I saw this movie, since we just watched it. But, so, guy goes back. Okay, so the guy leaves. Also, I was going to say, as a side note, this movie was not, did not indicate on it, that it had adult situations, but there are 3 other movies in here in the Man-Eater collection that do say they have adult situations. So we might see some more horny movies, much more horny movies than this one. And I made a prediction that was actually wrong, and that prediction was that there was going to be a sexy scene between Jimmy and Amber. And there wasn't. And you know what? I actually appreciate that there were no sex scenes in this movie. That is an A+ for me. We have not yet watched a movie with a sex scene, but I feel like that our days are numbered on that one. I am pro movies without sex scenes, and this is my opinion, and no one has to agree with this. I think sex scenes almost always are like just pointless in a movie and just kind of pandering. But in this movie, we had no sex scenes. We did have sexy bikini time, and that's okay with me. But anyway, let's see. So, dumb slut suggests sexy time under a tree, and so our dude photographer goes to get a blanket, and then we cut back to our. Yeah, go ahead. To the girl, she puts in her iPod to like get in the mood, I guess, by listening to some tunes. That is so wild. Like, I know he's gonna be back in like a minute and a half, but I'm just gonna go ahead and listen to some tunes first. But it was important for her to put in the earbuds so that she would have an excuse as to not hear him get brutalized by the wolf. Oh, you're right though. That was 100% what's going on. Anyway, so we cut back. Connor and Tina split up into one group, and then Reed and Sergeant Asshole split off into Sheriff Asshole. Sheriff Asshole split off into another group. So we have our 2 main like lead roles, and then we have like our 2 not lead roles. Anyway, so the guy gets eaten. We cut back to him. He gets eaten at his car. Girl also gets eaten, and then Tina and Connor hear this and they go investigate it. And then I have a quote here from you that says, "This is what you get for being horny." And then I wrote under that, Caleb 2020. So just for anyone that was wondering, Caleb thinks you should be eaten for being horny. I will say, though, that is a huge theme in horror movies, where it's like a couple's like, hey, let's have sex. And then they either start to have sex or just finish have sex or almost have sex and get murdered. Like,
But
just being horny in a horror movie is a guaranteed death.
this is true, and I agree with you on this. Let's see. So, we cut from there. They get eaten. Whatever. Jimmy sees the two bullies. Were they ever actually given names in this? I just called them the bullies.
If they were, it wasn't important.
Okay. Well, Jimmy sees the bullies. Here, I wrote that you guessed that they would be eaten at the beginning, so I just want to give you credit for that. Jimmy sees the bullies by the stream, and they're drinking beers or whatever. Well, and he tells them to leave, and they're like, "Please don't report me to the sheriff, because technically I'm on probation," and they leave, basically.
Yeah. But my prediction for that was like, because another thing with horror movies is just that someone is an asshole to the protagonist, they're gonna die. That's just another horror movie guarantee.
Yeah, and he's such a loose protagonist, though.
Yeah, but I think he's the closest thing this movie has to one.
He is the protagonist. Like, he has the most, like... But there's no one in this movie... Okay, we're getting real deep here. There's no one in this movie that has any actual, like, development that, like, changes it all. You know what? Actually, that's not true. The only person that changes in this movie is Reed.
Well, and
we
also,
haven't gotten to that point yet, but still, would you agree?
Yeah.
There's no one else that changes their opinion about anything in this movie. Even when so-and-so dies, you know who I'm talking about. Like, what's his name? Jimmy doesn't change at all.
Well, no, the lady who is the scientist, she also has kind of an arc.
Oh, you're true. That's true. She does have more of an arc. You're right.
So she's the protagonist.
Yeah, because I was... Yeah, you're right. Because okay. So, because, like, I was wrong. I originally guessed that Tina was going to die because she's like, it's my baby. You know, like, I'm the mommy of the werewolf or whatever. And you're right. Like, she ended up... Okay, anyway, we'll get there. I'm not going to spoil the ending for you.
Yeah, we have to do that at a later time.
We're getting there. We're only on page 6 of 8. So... We gotta hurry this along.
Buckle up, boys. We haven't had a long episode like this in a while.
That's true, because we haven't even released our what's it called, our Bill Cosby episode. I'm probably gonna edit it and release it this weekend, but anyway, okay. So Jimmy sees the bullies by the stream. He tells them to leave. They scoot or whatever, and then we cut to what's his name, Connor and Tina, and they're talking, and he says, quote, "This thing kills whatever it finds, whatever it wants, it likes it." And then she responds with something along the lines of, like, you know, it hasn't gotten time to get to know people, and, like, it doesn't know how to interact with people, and it's just doing this out of self-preservation. And this was the point where I was like, this thing is, like, she's gonna get murdered by this thing because she thinks, like, it's its mommy or whatever. That was my prediction at this point. Then we cut to the bullies, and they decide to go, like, they're like, we're gonna go get Jimmy, because for whatever reason, I guess because they were probation, I don't know. And then we cut to Jimmy, and he finds the dead fisherman. And then I wrote, I leave that Jimmy is actually I learned that Jenny is actually Amber. This is the point when I learned that Amber is actually, or Jenny, who I've been referring to as Jenny, is Amber. So this is the point in the movie when I realized that, because I wrote that down. Sheriff Asshole shoots at, we cut to Sheriff Asshole. He shoots at the Direwolf, but Reed stops him. And Reed shoots tranquilizer darts. Is that right? So it has a tranquilizer dart in it at this point. Is that right?
Yes, but the dart doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, it keeps going on about its business, and he's like, if you let me shoot, like, it'd be dead.
There's this whole scene of the wolf, like, laying down after it gets shot with a dart, but that doesn't really lead to anything. It just gets back up and goes about its business afterwards.
Let's see. So, Sheriff Asshole says he knows something is up, and so finally... Reed says, like, it actually is genetically modified. We just learned this or whatever. So he learns that at that point. So then right after that, we cut to Amber. Amber rolls down the window, gets some air because it's really hot outside, and then Jimmy finds her. And then we cut to, let's see. So we learn now that the direwolf is at the station. At this point, this was maybe the second worst part of the movie for me. So the worst part of the movie for me was when I thought the hunter was going to shoot the deer. He did not shoot the deer. And this is the point when I thought the direwolf was going to shoot the horse. He did not shoot the horse.
The direwolf was going to shoot the horse.
Was going to shoot the horse. The direwolf was going to eat the horse. He's just running with the horses, and I think it's really magical the way that he ran with the horses. It really reminded me. It really reminded me of
the horses and the direwolf were just vibing.
They were really just vibing. He didn't eat them, right? He only...
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. He's just chilling with the horses. He has nothing against horses. I think the direwolf is a metaphor for something. I don't know what it is, but it's for something.
Direwolf is Morrissey.
Okay.
We're
come
bringing
full
it back.
circle. Direwolf is Morrissey. And we can...
Think about it. He was killing hunters, and he murdered...
However, he's only murdered white people, and it's obvious. Okay,
but the other FBI agent, he wasn't fully white. Like, he had some ethnicity in there.
That's true. And you know what? Morrissey doesn't like people that are immigrating to England. And are those people all those people white? We don't really know because I haven't read the whole Wikipedia article yet, so we don't really know. I can read it now for you if you want.
I think we should probably go. It's already almost 11:45.
I'm never gonna get sleep for tonight. Okay. Direwolf is at the station. He's running with the horses. He's living his best life. This is the best point of the direwolf's life. Okay, he's living his best life right now. So the bullies show up at the station, and they decide to cut the phone line because I guess they're assholes, and they're upset because they see 666. Earlier, the what's his name at the station? Jimmy has erased the 666, and they're like, dang, why did he do that? So bully number 2, he is the minor bully in this. It's not important. He's the minor bully. He's the one with the long hair. He goes to get some spray paint, and while he is gone, he gets eaten by the direwolf, and then bully number 1 gets also eaten by the direwolf. So the distinction between the bullies was not important. Both of them get eaten.
Again, another pairing that could have been brothers.
That's true. They really could have been. And like, yeah, there was never. Okay, so like, why are they getting arrested by the game warden though? That's what I really want to know. They were
probably hunting on land they shouldn't have been hunting on. They were littering. They had their beer cans everywhere. I don't know.
That's true. I mean, if they're on probation though, they shouldn't have guns. But you know, according to what's it called, Rotten Tomatoes, this is a mountain town, so maybe they have a lot of guns going on. Maybe they're not super strict about it. I don't know. I don't have the answers for you, but
bunch of hillbillies.
However, okay, so Jimmy, he hotwires the truck. He takes him back to the station, and then they find the dead body of the bullies, and so he has what's her name cover her eyes.
No,
Amber,
he doesn't.
Not Jen.
He doesn't even have her cover her eyes. He just doesn't show her the bodies. Nah, he's just like, all right, come on, and he like shows her to the cabin. He like doesn't have her close her eyes at all.
See, I thought he had her close her eyes.
He just doesn't even mention the corpses laying around outside his house. He's just like,
which is wild. Like, hey, they're corpses. Close your eyes.
Oh,
I mean, okay, I understand.
How
does she not notice the corpses, though?
Well, I mean, like, think about it. Like, 5 minutes later, when everyone else shows up, they're like, hey, you see those bodies outside? And he's like, shh, and he, like, points to her. So it's like, right. What are you trying to hide? She knows the direwolf is out there. Like,
I mean, she literally saw, like, I think I said this before when we were watching it. Like, she literally saw her boyfriend murdered. Like, we're not really hiding anything at this point.
Also, I'm skipping a little bit further ahead, but, like, literally with, like, 5 minutes after that, when the male FBI agent gets mauled, she runs outside and sees that. So
all we're saying is everyone in this movie has been traumatized. They will need a lot of therapy. Okay, so they find the dead body. They go in the station. He gets her a cup of water, and he sits on the floor and creepily stares at her. Well, okay, he kneels on the floor and creepily stares
and
at
looks
her.
right at her knee. Like,
oh god,
dead.
it's so weird.
I thought he was gonna kiss it. I'm not gonna lie.
It would have been so amazing if he had. They never kiss in this movie, and you know,
No.
I give them props for that because they establish like this romantic tension here, and then they never they just fucking end the movie, and we will get to that at the end. They just fucking end the movie. They never have sex, they never kiss, and I find that amazing for a cheap ass movie like this. I think it's great. There are this is a hot take. There are too many sex movies in movies. There are too many sex scenes in movies. Do you agree or disagree?
I partially agree. I do think that like sex scenes can be unnecessary, but I also do see sex scenes as gatekeepers for people who are annoying. Because they will not watch those movies because they have sex scenes in them.
Okay. I agree. So what you're saying is that your parents wouldn't watch this movie if there was a sex scene in it.
Also,
would your parents watch this movie? There's no kissing, no sex scene. However, there is sexy bikini lady. Would your parents watch this movie?
If they're no, because it's too gory.
Oh, that's true.
But that's what made me so happy when I saw that the new Lord of the Rings TV show is going to have sex in it, because I was like, fuck, my parents can't watch it. Hell yeah. they're going to be so fucking pissed about that, and that makes me so happy.
Unfortunately, I'm at this weird point where like my parents, like my dad showed me like Terminator and like RoboCop and Alien.
Oh yeah, those movies have lots of sex in them.
I wasn't traumatized by the sex. I was 100% traumatized by like the gore scenes though. My parents obviously, well, not my parents. My father has no point like issues with showing that or seeing that, and like I don't even know. So like I don't have that satisfaction. But my dad would probably watch this movie.
When I was older and I watched Terminator for the first time by myself because my parents didn't want to watch it, I was shocked to see a sex scene. Like I was like, wow, what the fuck? I think that might have been the first movie I ever saw a sex scene in.
This was the first time I ever saw that.
No,
one of my parents' favorite movies.
That's a lie. I'm sorry.
What was okay, Caleb? Tell us your first sex scene movie.
Schindler's List.
I've never seen Schindler's List all the way through.
It's a depressing movie.
There's
My
a
dad
sex
likes
scene
it, though.
in Schindler's List?
Yeah.
Shit, now I have to watch it and report back.
Well,
on the sex scene.
I don't remember exactly, but I do remember clearly like two people lying in bed together naked.
Wait, is it consensual?
Yes.
Okay, then it's okay.
There is a lot of nudity in that movie, but not all of, only a couple of times is it meant to be sexy. I will say that as well.
That is quite okay. We won't even go there. Schindler's List. That's for a different day. Okay.
We can have a different podcast where we watch that movie.
We have a podcast where we watch Schindler's List every week, and then we report back to you on our findings.
Okay, so we have this podcast where we review shitty things, and then we have another podcast where we review like top level, like, you know, critically acclaimed things.
And then we have a third podcast where we just talk about our tweets and what they actually mean. So
one of them will get famous. We just up our chances by three times.
We just keep making podcasts until one of them gets famous. Okay. So, our girl Amber, she's like, I want to call my mom. However, if you'll remember, the bullies cut the phone line before they died, so she can't call out. And then let's see. In the meantime, Connor gets eaten, which is a bummer. I think also S.A. shows up. I wrote him as S.A. It's Sheriff Asshole. That's why I keep calling him Sergeant Asshole, because I wrote it as S.A. everywhere. Sheriff Asshole shows back up with Reed. Connor gets eaten. It's super sad. Tina uses her magical powers to stop the bear. And this is where it really solidifies the idea that Tina is the wolf's mommy. God, what even is it? It's just a monster. Truly, okay, if we're gonna go with the movie, it's the devil. Because this is Devil's Canyon, 666. It's all a sign. It's just like back with what's his name? What was the movie we watched last time?
Missionary Man.
Missionary Man, just like with
Dolph?
him, with Dolph.
With Dolph.
With Dolph, he was an angel. This is the devil.
True. It's true. It's true.
Is there a third?
Parallels.
Is there a third movie where Dolph fights the Direwolf? This is what I'm waiting for. This is what I want. He is. This is an angel fighting a demon. We're having revelations here at 1.5 hours into this podcast.
No. When this podcast blows up and we get millions and millions of listeners, maybe someone can make that happen for us.
See, you listener, you probably listen to all of these podcasts where they break apart movies, but have you ever had a movie where you bring together movies in this way? You've never had this before. This is truly revolutionary.
You listener out there with connections to Dolph Lundgren, get this to him.
Retweet. Okay.
What's Dolph tweeting about?
Anyway, so Connor gets eaten. It's a bummer. Tina stops it with her magical powers, and Reed runs up, and she's like, "Oh my fucking god!" Connor dies in her arms. It is a heartbreaking scene, and Tina's just like, I wrote it down. Oh yeah, Reed finally takes off her jacket. This whole time she's been running through the woods. They've established how hot it is, and she's still running through the woods with her jacket, as is Connor. Anyway, so Connor gets eaten. Tina uses her magical powers. Also, I think Sheriff Asshole shoots him, and then
he shoots
who
at
is it?
him.
Is it he shoots at him. I think that the implication is that he actually has been shot, because remember later they're like, he's been injured, he's running back to the lab.
Well, that was because Jimmy stabbed him.
Oh shit, you're right. I forgot about that. Okay, so she shoots him. Okay, he shoots at him. I don't think he actually. And then Tina says, "He's gone." I don't know if I said it right.
Yeah.
But basically the same idea.
Because the girl
Wonderful
agent
acting.
is leaning over the body of her, close friend for 6 years, and she's like crying, and she's like, stay with me, the typical movie thing. And then the lady scientist is like, he's gone.
We have to go back to the cabin. He's gone.
He's gone. We have to go back. And it's like, okay, she's grieving her friend of 6 years.
I have here, he's gone, but with 3 O's. So if that expresses to you how she said that, he's gone. I'm going to add here, this movie is, in my opinion, 100% worth watching. It is really funny for the amount of time that it is. It's only an hour and a half. It's not that bad.
It's not even an hour and a half. It's actually 2 minutes under an hour and a half, so...
So, like, if you have an hour and a half less than an hour and a half to kill, I think this is a really funny way to spend it. But listen to this podcast first. We don't get any money from it, but we do gain satisfaction.
Yes.
Okay. So, so now Reed, she wants to murder the wolf because she's like, oh my god. What was the funniest part was where, what's her name? Tina was like, he really respected you. Didn't she say something like that?
Wait, repeat what you said? You kind of cut out a little bit.
Didn't Reed say something, or not Reed, I'm sorry. Didn't Tina say something along the lines of, like, he really respected you, or something along those lines?
Yeah. If it means anything, he's like, he respected you a lot.
It's something along those lines. And if you rewatch it and it doesn't say exactly that, but that's the gist of it. Those are like his two character traits. He uses the bathroom a lot. He really respects Reed. And she will avenge his death.
Yeah, because like after that moment, she just like stops giving a fuck.
This is true. Okay, so let's see. So Tina consents. Oh, so it's nighttime now. They're all in the cabin and they're all talking about what's going on. And Reed's upset about Connor's death. And Tina is like, and what's his name? Sheriff Asshole. He's like, something's going on outside. And he sees the sign. And the sign that before, like, one of those chains was undone and like hanging loose. He sees that and he's like, something's outside. And Tina's like, she can sense it nearby, and she's like, it's out there. And Sheriff Asshole is like, I need to go to the bathroom for like the 4th time in the movie, as we have mentioned before. Which I will say, this movie has taught me something. Like we mentioned before, This is why we don't mention it before. We don't
Also-
mention it in other movies as needing to use the bathroom because it doesn't matter.
Also, we forgot to mention this when Jimmy and his girlfriend Amber first show up to the cabin, and like he's looking at her knees. He asks her if she needs to use the bathroom.
Okay, there's that point. There's when Sheriff Asshole goes to the bathroom. There's when he asks if Tina needs to wash up in the bathroom because she has blood all over her face.
Mm-hmm. And then her and what's her name go in there together.
They go in there together. There's a scene with that. And then there's also when what's his name? They cut because Connor and Reed. Connor's like, I need to use the bathroom. While Tina is explaining the dire wolf to him. He's like, actually, I need to use the bathroom.
Yeah, and then there's the introduction scene to the two agents where he talks about that he needs to use the bathroom, and she was like, you should have gone before we left. Cross your legs.
Okay, all I'm saying is maybe this director, maybe this writer has something going on. I think we need to investigate more. Okay.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. He knows plot devices. He knows how to have unexpected plot devices where people need to use the bathroom to further the plot. But anyway, so Sheriff Asshole, and this is amazing because Caleb called this like 100%, and I pride you for this. Caleb right before this was like, Sheriff Asshole is gonna go outside to fix that sign, and he's gonna get eaten. And that's what he does. He sneaks out the bathroom window, and then Sheriff Asshole gets eaten while he's fixing the sign. And like Jimmy's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm fixing this sign." And then the direwolf shows up. He eats Sheriff Asshole. And then
he eats the sheriff's asshole.
He eats the sheriff's asshole. It's an extremely awkward scene. And then Jimmy stabs the dire wolf, and the dire wolf runs off.
Yes, and I would also like to say, there's a scene where like the girl agent is like, she's holding someone back. I don't remember if it's Jimmy or not. Or she's pulling him off of the dire wolf after he stabs it in the back 4 or 5 times. She has a fucking gun in her hands. And does
she have
shoot.
the gun or the tranquilizer darts, though?
She has a pistol, a gun. Like,
oh my fucking god.
A gun in her hands.
And they've just established right before that like she wants to kill the dire wolf. Like she's pissed off that her partner of 6 years has been killed.
Yeah.
And she pulls him off of him.
And then the direwolf runs away, and then we commence to have the exact same death scene we just had, where instead of the FBI agent, it's instead the sheriff asshole.
Yeah, and he gives his star to Jimmy and makes him sheriff. And it's a very touching scene. No one feels sad because Sheriff Asshole was an asshole the whole time. Like, were there any, like, redeeming points of Sheriff Asshole?
Not really. He was kind of a jerk to everybody all the time.
He was a jerk the whole time.
And then the town was without a game warden again.
Who is going to police the forest? Who's going to stop the hunters? Meat is murder. And no one's here to address that.
Introducing Morrissey to be the new game warden.
Okay, all I have to say is I never saw Jimmy eat meat one time in this whole movie.
Jimmy Eat Meat is my favorite band.
It is also my favorite band. And you see, I'm calling him Jimmy, and it's because early in the movie I named him Baby Boy. I think they actually call him Jim throughout the whole movie, but I'm calling him Jimmy because I guess I'm just an asshole. I don't know. At least I'm not calling him like Dolph or whatever. Okay. So now we're down to, so now they're like, oh wait, no. At this point, everyone is like, okay, we have to go kill this thing. And Tina's like, I know it's heading back to the lab because it's injured. And she's like, we need to get there before it gets there. And so we're down to just Tina, Amber, Jimmy, and Reed. And they're in the car and they're headed to the lab, the CGI ass lab. And yes. Reed, she has a bunch of missed calls from the general. The general's calling her. She answers, and he's like,
for a great low rate you can get online. Go to the general and save some time.
What's the other one? J.G. Wentworth.
It's called J.G. Wentworth.
Okay.
877 cash now. We're not sponsored, by the way.
J.G. Wentworth calls, and she's like, Connor's dead. He's like, oh shit. And he's like, well, that means that like the beast or whatever, the wolf is alive. And she's like, yeah, well, fuck that wolf. He killed my friend. She throws the phone out of the car, which, like I said at the time, seems like a really poor decision. Because like that's your phone that you can use to call other people. It's 2007. There's no other cell phones available.
You're right. It does seem to be a bad idea, but it has literally no consequences. So it was not a bad idea.
That's true. It didn't affect her at all because the movie, as you will learn, stops at the dumbest point ever. There's zero resolution. Okay, there's like 25. Okay. I'll give it this. 45% resolution. Lots of plot points. Not cold. Like, put together. But anyway, we'll get there.
The main conflict is concluded. We'll say that.
The main conflict. Some of the other ones, not so much. Anyway, so the four of them, they show up at the lab and they set up a booby trap. And the booby trap, do you want to describe it? I don't know if I can describe it properly.
It is a piece of sheet metal on the floor that they then hook up to a generator using power cables. And the plan is to lure the monster onto the piece of metal and then turn on the generator and cause him to be shocked to death.
Like, I think it's amazing how close that piece of metal is to, like, the switch. Okay, so number one, they're like, isn't it close to the, what's it called? In your house, you know, you switch for, like, power. For electricity.
The breaker?
Yeah, they're like, it's next to the breaker. And the breaker is exactly one big lever.
One big lever that says on and off.
Which is great. So, like, so we're insinuating that the breaker is off, yet there are lights going on everywhere. There's lights in this building.
Oh, it's the breaker for one generator.
It's one giant lever. It's a giant lever. And it is super close. So, like, this piece of metal is in the hallway, and then there's a room right next to it. And they're in the room with the giant lever. That is so close to the monster. Like, I don't know. It's just kind of ridiculous. Anyway, so that's their plan. All of a sudden, Dr. Reynolds shows up. Before we thought, and I don't think I mentioned this, or you mentioned this, or whoever, Dr. Reynolds was supposed to be napping in his car this whole time. We've never broken away to him, but he's in here. He has grown a second baby direwolf, and he's at the lab. He's there. He's starting the baby too, and I put a prediction here. Dr. Reynolds has to die. That is my prediction here. And then I wrote Jenny. Let's see. Jenny chooses baby wob to grand? What the hell?
Who did you call Jenny? Because I thought we established that Jenny is no longer around.
Oh, okay. Jimmy throws baby to the ground.
Oh, Jimmy.
That's what I meant.
Yes.
Not Jenny throws baby wob to grand. Jimmy throws baby to the ground. Okay. Throws baby wolf to the ground. Okay. And then Reed asks, yes. And then Reed's like, okay, Dr. Reynolds, why'd you do this? Like, what's the whole point of this? Which is the question that you asked, Caleb. I put a star next to it and everything. You asked, why is the government building a fucking wolf man? And he's like, okay. So he says that the Aztecs did not fear the conquistadors' sabers. They feared their hunting dogs, which, like, to be confirmed. We haven't done
citation needed.
Citation needed. No fact check done here. And so he's like, because of this one, like, supposed fact, they would be great soldiers. Which
no, they were like, they would be not even that, but it was like they would be great companions for soldiers because they would use the soldiers' stem cells to make a wolf that would then be the soldiers' like pet attack dog.
Yes, and this is where we learn that Tina, so they wanted to use stem cells, and at this point Reed's like, stem cells, don't those have to come from babies? And she's like, it came from Tina. It came from Tina's fucking eggs. Tina's eggs gave forth this baby. I was right. She is its mommy. She is the wolf's mommy. She's the wolf mother. Okay. And it was born from the eggs. And then I wrote LMAO right after that. So, and then I wrote in all caps, she is its mommy, because I was so happy that I, like, in my mind, I was imagining it as, like, she was there when it was, like, born or whatever. No, she's its actual mommy, DNA and everything. So she's standing there and she's like, I know it's coming. And they're like, we have to kill it. And Dr. Reynolds like, no, it can't die. I have to warn it. He gets eaten immediately.
Instantly. Almost instantly. Like he goes, I have to warn it, and walks out of the room and then just gets tackled to the ground.
Okay. And then, so Tina's on the other side of this, like, piece of metal, and she's like, come here. And it's, like, all calm and everything. And she's walking towards its mommy.
Come here, boy. Come here, boy.
Come here. And they're watching, and they're like, what will she do? At this point, I'm still rooting for it, because I still thought Tina was going to die. However, she's like, come here and everything. And she's, like, super sad. And then they pull the lever. The werewolf dies. The direwolf dies. And then Tina's thrown back sadly. And, like, she's, like, knocked out. And then they're just like, are you okay? And she's like, I'm okay. And then the movie fucking ends.
Yep, it's over.
That's it. Like, that's the whole movie. We have no resolution to our love interests. Like, we don't see them get together or anything. We don't see... I mean, we had a romance last week, so, like, I don't have a whole lot to expect. But, like, damn. I don't know.
My favorite part about it is that, fuck, what was I going to say? It was, like, there's no, like transition either between the final scene and the end of the movie. Like, instantly it pans to a shot of the sheriff, and I thought it was, like, showing us that the sheriff actually survived his attack. But no, because at the end of the movie, they just have this thing where they just have a montage of all their characters' greatest moments, and then, like, tell you who the actor is.
At minimum, 3 different still shots of each main actor, and there's so many main actors. So we have 4 that are alive by the end, but we also have Connor that dies. We have Billy Ray that dies, and we also have what's his name?
Sheriff.
Sergeant Asshole that dies. So that's like 7 main characters at that point.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Oh, I wouldn't call Billy Ray a main character, but he's like on the side. I don't even remember if they mentioned him. I think we might have cut it off before. They could have mentioned Billy Ray. But
yeah, and then credits roll, end of the movie.
End of movie. What a wild movie though.
What a trip.
If this is 33%, I am not ready to see. What was the lowest one? Was like 16% or something like that?
It was 14%. That was Chupacabra. So, what was the second highest one? We have to see. Which one are we doing next?
I don't remember. I have to see a picture. I remember that there was the bear one, there was the Chupacabra one, there was this one, there was the tiger one, and then what was the other one?
Croc.
The croc one. I want to say that was the second to last one. The tiger
should we go to by IMDb instead of Rotten Tomatoes, since that actually has a rating system?
That's true. We could go by IMDb.
So Croc on IMDb has a 3.7 out of 10. Let's see.
So a 37. So that would actually be higher than the one we did. We will do this in the order that we feel like doing them.
Man-Eater has a 4.1, so that's a little higher.
41.
And then
what is
Chupacabra?
I feel like we should save Chupacabra for when we really need him, because that has what's his name in it.
Yeah.
And as in this episode we had Morrissey references, we will have so many Cool Cat references. I will watch Cool Cat before this so that I can have as many Cool Cat references.
Chupacabra versus the Alamo is also the newest one. It was made in 2013.
2013? 2013. I was 15.
And Chupacabra versus the Alamo is a 3.1.
Oh, damn. I don't know. What is your opinion? Who should we do last?
I kind of want to do... Oh, I didn't look up Grizzly Rage.
Maybe we should do Chupacabra next. Or Grizzly Rage. I feel like that might be fun. But I feel like Grizzly
Rage is a 2.6.
Okay, I vote that we do Grizzly Rage after we do the next Halloween book, because we're gonna do the Halloween book for Halloween special.
Yes, I agree with that, and so that would probably be our next episode then.
So no promises. Halloween episode should be coming out on Halloween. I believe that's a Saturday, so that should be coming out by that night. So
okay,
and it's going to be on our Halloween book about Halloween. What is a Christian to do? I'm working on it right now, so look forward to that.
Very, very exciting.
Any final thoughts on our movie here?
I think I said everything I wanted to say.
Please watch this movie. It's great. And then tweet at me. I know no one will because no one listens to this, but please tweet at me about how great this movie is. All right. You can tweet at me at TofuWaifu96. Yeah, TofuWaifu96. Twitter.com.
Forgetting your own Twitter handle. You can tweet at me at Spitfer with 4 Fs, and then you can also tweet the podcast account at @attic_pod.
Yeah, not attic_pod.
I think it's not _attic pod actually, but
tweet at us. That's all we ask.
It's in our Twitter bios, so if you can't find it, just
we're
click
extremely desperate for attention.
Yes, indeed, as always. Anyway, y'all have a good night.
Bye.